Good morning, everybody. Listen, I want to talk about the hard truth of convincing people. And a lot of times when I talk with people, they think if I can only just convince people of what I'm capable of or what I'm selling or what I'm doing or find a way or a method to convince people of things, then I would be successful. And this is a fallacy and a lie that a lot of people believe that leads them down a path of spinning on the hamster wheel. They're constantly trying to validate themselves and prove to other people of what they can do and that what they're saying is true. And this almost always, most of the time, leads to failure. The reason we do it, though, is because sometimes if we try hard enough, we can eventually convince one or two people in our lives, and we come up with this framework that it's our job to convince people of things. The fact is that you don't need to convince anybody of what you're capable of, what you're doing, or what you're trying to offer to people. In fact, it's not your job. What your job to be is to be authentically yourself and who you are. If there's people that don't buy into that, let them. It's not your job to try to bring them on board. You see, when we try to convince people, we are essentially saying this, that what you believe about me is more true than what I believe about me. And so I have to make sure that you believe the same as me. And it's this back and forth of convincing because we're giving up the power of our belief to what somebody else believes. And we're actually saying, no, I get it. Your belief is more powerful than mine. So now I have to try to pull you over to my side instead of just standing confidently, believing that what we're talking about is true, believing what we're capable of, and then going after our dreams. You don't need to spend or waste your time convincing people of anything. It's not going to help you, and it's not helping you at all. Instead, be yourself. Have confidence in what you can do, and then do it. You don't need to convince anybody that you're capable of doing it. You don't need to convince anybody that what you're saying is true. It's not your job. If they don't want to believe you, if they don't want to come on board with you, if they don't want to join you, great. Leave them over there. They don't need to. You don't need to spend and waste your time trying to convince people that are committed to proving you wrong and proving themselves right. And yet we spend so much of our time defending ourselves, trying to prove that what we're saying is true, trying to validate that we're good enough or worthy of people following us. This is where the impostor syndrome comes in, because we're putting so much energy into convincing other people, and ultimately we're trying to convince ourselves too. You see, it shows when you're trying to convince somebody of something, and people can tell this, that you don't fully believe in what you're saying. And so you're trying to get them to validate your belief, and it's never going to work. You have to be confident in what you believe. And if you're struggling with being confident in what you believe, now we have to get to the root of that. Why am I not confident in what I believe I'm capable of, and why am I trying to get validation from other people? And that could be any number of things for other people. Maybe you've had a bad experience in the past. Maybe you tried and failed before. But past experience doesn't dictate future results. And when we're in a situation where we're working with people, it's not our job to convince. The word is convince. Convince anybody of anything. Our job is to do the thing we know we're capable of, whether people are convinced or not. To go after our dreams, whether people validate us or not. To go after what we're called to do, even if we haven't proved ourselves. But people are waiting in this balance of, well, I have to do everything right. I have to be perfect and do perfect before I can be worthy of people coming on board with me. And it's this looping process that people go into mentally. I know this because I've done it myself for so long, is trying to convince people of what I'm saying to be true, or trying to defend myself of my position in things. And every single time it never worked out. It never works out. spend your energy going where you are being celebrated, people that believe in you. Stop wasting your time trying to get approval and validation and convincing people that don't. Eventually, they will come on board. But spending your energy trying to get the people that don't believe in you to believe in you is a waste of time, when you could be spending that over here in the area that you're confident in, with people that have your back. By focusing on goodness, by focusing on hope, by focusing on where you're going, by focusing on the future, by declaring and then walking out the goodness that's right in front of you. You don't have to convince anybody of the goodness that's in your life. Defending yourself is a weak position, and we feel shame around this. Shame that, well, people don't believe in me, or they don't have my back. They don't have to, and you need to be okay with that fact. And you need to be okay with the fact that people are going to be committed to proving you wrong. It's also not your job to do what you know you can do to prove them wrong and convince them. That is, again, a wrong focus. You're putting your energy in a misappropriated place. Focus on the goodness. Focus on where you're headed. Focus on where you're going. Empower the things that you love, and stop empowering what you're trying to avoid. Stop defending yourself. When you defend yourself and say, no, well, I can do this, or I've done this, or all this, it comes across that you don't believe that you can really do what you say you can do. And yet people try to defend what they can do to convince people of what they're capable of, so people give them a shot. What if people are just waiting for you to step up and not wait on their validation to go after what you were made for? In fact, that's what most people are trying to do. They're trying to convince other people of what they're capable of because they want to fit in or get love and connection from a community or the people that they're around. And they spend all of their time trying to avoid the feeling of being out of the group, being left out, scarcity, not getting what they want. And we're so focused on this lack mindset that we're missing the abundance that's right in front of us, right in front of our eyes, that's available to us, by trying to convince people of things. And so the hard truth is this: it's not your job to convince anyone of anything, in fact. And so stop trying to convince people of things. Stop doing anything that is in an effort to prove or validate or convince anyone of anything. And do the thing that you know that you're capable of, even if people don't believe in you, even if you haven't validated yourself, even if you haven't proved yourself, and go after your destiny. Go after what you were made for. Have the belief inside of you, the confidence that you believe in yourself, to then go after it, even if nobody validates you. And that's how you can win. That's how you can grow your life. That's how you can make an impact. The people that make an impact take a risk without any need for validation, without any validation. You don't need it. That need, it's a dopamine response that you get when you're validated, and you feel good and worthy. And so we're trying to seek out that dopamine response from getting validated, instead of just going after it and doing it, which is what everybody's waiting for in the first place. But we're addicted to validation. We're addicted to proving ourselves. We're addicted to that moment when we convince somebody of something, that we believe that is the key to get to where we want to go. And that's why people that do that spin in circles and never really go past that level of keep constantly convincing people. The breakthrough happens as soon as you stop trying to convince people of anything and just do the thing that you were made to do, regardless of what opinions, regardless of what feedback you get, regardless of any of that. Just go after your destiny and grow your life. We'll talk soon.